It's a very good point.
Okay, and we're back. Now, based on my little list, I think it's Andrew's turn to be the bad one.
There's no specific
When is it
order.
not?
No, as in like I'm going around the loop on the overlay.
Oh yeah, I mean that works as well as anything else. Yeah, who would like to be the Endless Sea next?
And so if it were me, then I would specifically be bringing us adversity that would come from the spirits of the Endless Sea.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have like a strong thing for that. Like I don't have a strong sense of
so
what
this
adversity to bring. So
don't worry. There are also encounter prompts.
Right.
If
So those can help me
we
out.
think back to the far Halcyon days of when we started playing that last encounter.
The one time you rolled a die, I remember now.
Yeah, the one time, and like ideally we have the physical deck of cards, and we don't even need the dice.
Right, and sorry, I have this other page I can go to with encounter prompts. Sick.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
When you're
exactly.
choosing to play the
And so
Endless
yeah,
Sea
you just
for
roll a
encounter,
d8
read
and
cards.
then do the one that you.
Well, then in that case, I have everything that I need.
All right, cool. So the spirits take over. Andrew is now the MC for the next 15 to 20 minutes.
So like this one's fucking obvious. Okay, so
So just
I need to answer my own questions for a minute here.
yeah, I find it helps to write them down somewhere.
I'm going to ask some
personally,
questions
but
out loud.
Yep,
While we're
totally.
going through. So we got smote and driven out from our island, and like we're all about the sun. The sun is our friend. We have our ancestor. What's their face? Who rekindled the sun?
Yep.
Yeah. And then Sarga, the Salt Sage, who betrayed us, or betrayed the Lost Land to its downfall, specifically. So not even us.
Was our homeland the Lost Land? Are they like a cursed ancestor?
I mean, this is kind of like that could be like one step further back, or this could be the place that we're returning to. I think it makes sense to keep the unity of things strong and have it be that the place we're returning to is the Lost Land that was betrayed to its downfall.
Yep.
But this person's descendants are still among us, and they are cunning and steadfast, which is great. And so, yeah, I think the big question, right, is like, to whom did Sarga betray the Lost Lands? And of course, I now get to answer that because I'm going to be all evil.
Yeah, I mean, I have a thought.
But you're not the sea.
But I'm not the sea. So like, it's up to Andrew whether they would like to hear this thought or not.
I'm just trying to review all of these things that we've already established because there's so much to draw on, right?
So much fiction, like straight up.
Yeah, I really like that about it. I really like that because it doesn't leave you with that feeling of like, oh heck, I need to come up with a bunch of things out of nowhere.
Everything I need should already be before me, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like the order of operations in this game is like first reincorporate, then innovate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
in that order, and like,
so
do you have
ask for help?
You have a mechanic, Luke, that helps people. You know, you talked about cards earlier.
Yeah.
Could you have all of the the voices as cards and have them on the table so that people can survey them or something like that, somewhere to reference them?
So the idea is in physical space, the overall people playbook would get printed as like A3 and would then sit in the middle of the table, and all of that stuff would be recorded.
This one that you can't see, Derek.
Yeah, it's the one
you
on
can't see.
Yeah.
I can't see that part of it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's that piece of paper, and then the optional other A3 piece of paper where you draw a map of your journey, because story gamers love maps, I guess.
This has some like quiet year vibes to it as well, so I feel like maps are nice.
Yeah.
Or like Fall of Magic, which I know y'all had played. So, Derek, let me just give you very quickly a mental image of what we're looking at here in Roll20. Just imagine a piece of paper that has all of the information you could ever want written on it. And then you've got it. That's it. So
that's what you're missing.
We call this pulling a John Harper.
Well, it's like I'm there.
Everything you want on a bit of paper, but everything you want that you don't have.
Yeah.
If only you could design role-playing games like John Harper GMs them. You just say to your players, okay, just imagine a role-playing game that does this very specific set of things. You're there.
And then boom, you're there.
Yeah.
All you need is your imagination. So it's nighttime, of course. And everyone isn't sailing, of course, because it's not allowed. No sailing at nighttime. It's bad. Or at least not at speed. So we're drifting.
That's ominous.
We've left this, horrifying frozen island behind. And we're in this great open expanse where horizon to horizon in every direction is open.
Yeah, actually, sorry, Andrew, if I could just very briefly, is worth for those of you watching, it is now the second month. It is the beginning of autumn, called Swiftness or High Winds. There is, for those of us in Roll20, there is a little list of the months, and I've got a little circle that I'm moving down to track where we're at.
That's a good reminder, because I'd forgotten about, this is also a thing, and this is very apropos. So
just wanted to make sure you had that.
And of course, heralding this change, there's the howling winds, and we have to pull down our sails and huddle together, and it's this ominous nighttime, and everyone's getting buffeted around, and it's a scary time for everyone. And the storm at first howls wordlessly, but as the night goes on and people succumb to madness, it begins to speak to them.
Oh.
And from beneath the water, climb aboard dead friends, family members, ancestors, people who are known to the people. Their bodies half composed of kelp, bird skulls sticking out of them, and they kind of drag themselves sopping wet onto the deck and speak to people.
I reckon that
who's gonna
sounds
deal
like
with this?
It sounds like a pretty good time to pick that.
We put it to work.
Yeah, that's
into the galley. Row the oars.
The night shift has just showed up. I feel like probably the memory of the people is the most obvious candidate here. To deal with this undead nonsense.
We have a ritual for that. Although it sounds it's kind of already been done and it didn't work. I don't know. It's an interesting one.
Aren't they supposed to stay dead when you do the ritual?
Exactly, meant to stay killed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so, that, or, I guess I could try something?
Mm-hmm. Which one? You and
the
laws.
Laws. Yeah, that would be interesting, too. Either of those.
Don't forget the hands of the people.
Yeah, we could always just, beat the shit out of them.
I know, right?
We
throw them over.
Kill it with fire,
We're good at shooting things.
So, Endless Sea, you are not allowed to speak during this.
I'm sorry. I'm not allowed to speak at all. I can't even troll you guys. Okay.
Nope. You must be silent and ominous, like the ocean.
Okay, let me just mute myself here.
Just make wave noises. So while the Endless Sea does an interpretive dance, what are we thinking?
Gosh, that's so distracting.
Well, this is all about the memory. This is all about
It's memory.
The past coming back to either help us or haunt us. I think it's you, Em.
Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty strongly my feeling too.
Cool. All right. I'm happy with that. Let me open up.
So you get to ask some
I get to
questions.
ask some questions.
And your questions are great. I like all the questions. But you have some particularly excellent ones. Look, I'm proud of this game.
I know.
There's no false modesty here. I think it's pretty good.
It's good. That's good.
Deal with it.
Yeah, no, you're right. Okay. So it says here, describe how the people prepare or investigate and then ask the questions. I just want to look at my questions because that will kind of give me a bit of a guide. Ooh, these are really good questions. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think that from what we know about the people, we know that they are highly superstitious, but that they like to have plans. They have a plan for almost anything, and particularly grim things. So I think that there are among the people a collection of individuals from kind of a diverse variety of ages and genders and whatever. But it is their job, their task, when encountered by death that is wrong. They know a particular ritual to do. And I think it's not like a big ritual that is sort of part of the culture of the people at large. I think it's something small, kind of like, these are the people who know how to do like a warding kind of evil eye or something like that. So I think these people carry with them these kinds of little almost like a shaker, or something that has a whole lot of shells on it, kind of like bells. And as soon as these people smell the stench of death and seaweed, they reach into their pockets and their bags and pull out necklaces and begin to make this sound, which is just audible under the sound of the howling wind. And I think that's sort of the first instinct. As far as questions, these are all so good. You're correct. You're exactly right. I think okay, I think my first question is, for what does this thing hunger, or by what has it sated itself?
Oh, God.
That's not an exclusive or, right? I can answer both of those facets because those are great. I want to.
Those are cool.
As the designer, I am officially declaring that is not an exclusive or.
Excellent.
Bath away.
So I got so excited that my short-term memory failed me. Can you please repeat the important elements of the question?
For what does this thing hunger, or by what has it sated itself?
Excellent. So what they hunger for, all these people they're returning to are descendants, or some of these are more recent dead, but for others it's your legendary great grandmother who slew the whatever, that person shows up, and everyone has been telling stories about this person through generations of their family, so they just know who it is. Also, maybe they've been driven mad, and so they just see it and know, in a dream. And these people tell these stories of long suffering at the bottom of the endless sea, how they've been waiting, and how the like whatever rituals, the way that we bury people, the way that we deal with our dead has like cursed everyone to rot at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh wow.
And that they like suffer endlessly awaiting the journey of return, because we can't rest here. And so what they hunger for endlessly is the like final solace of an emptiness of death that has been denied of them. And what they have sated this hunger with is salt, just endlessly pickling themselves at the bottom of the ocean. And so they're all like, like half rotted and just like bitter, hateful, but
salty.
Like they can't do anything about it, because if they were to like take their revenge on the people who, consign them to the sea, then they would never get the rest that they require. So they have to wait and watch as those who have cursed them faff about and screw it up. And, there's like a weird judgy family thing going on in there.
With the undead family.
Yeah,
and
but it's
cool.
spirits and it's messed up. Yeah.
To Polaris this and play like Moon Player for a bit. Andrew, you said ancestors. Are either Sewol or Saga among their number?
Oh, I mean, yeah, Sarga's here, obviously. And most poignantly, everyone that's getting talked to by the dead ghosts of their ancestors are descendants of Sarga.
Oh.
Descendants of Sewol is not happening.
There's not any of them.
That's cool.
Okay.
So there's like a split in the community immediately.
Right.
There's this hard division between, like which branch of the family tree are you from?
Are you cursed or are you blessed? It is now
like
very, very obvious.
So I just wanted to check on our big sheet about like those people. So Saga's descendants are the ones being visited. The Salt Sage. Yeah.
The Salt Sage who betrayed the Lost Land to its downfall. Their descendants are cunning and steadfast.
Okay. Ooh, all right. So this is so interesting because there's kind of like, all right, I'll ask another question and then we'll see based on that, because it's there's sort of two totally different ways that I'm thinking like to respond to this at the moment. Okay. Okay, yeah, I think I'm going to go with the sort of two halves, like what does it want and what does it fear? I'm going to choose the question, what weakness, taboo, or vulnerability do the people remember this thing having?
So there are lots of stories about the dead coming back to life, because that's like the whole reason you have this elaborate, embalming, burial, corpse disposal, whatever, right, is to prevent any of this kind of shit from happening. This is not supposed to happen. And so it is known that the spirits of the dead are not complicated, right? That they need and want very specific things, and that like the communities, the people, their etiquette towards the dead is correct, and so like they are safe from the dead. We know that this is not like dangerous as such. It's more of an existential threat rather than an immediate one. But I feel like I didn't actually accurately answer your question. So can you please repeat your question and then I will double check.
Yeah. what weaknesses, taboo, or vulnerability do the people remember this thing has?
Okay, so I kind of did answer the question. Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah, so in that, so long as they continue to do things right, this doesn't present like a physical threat.
Yeah, as long as you just never make a mistake in this complicated etiquette procedure that we have around the dead, then you're fine, right? It's all good.
Yeah. Okay.
How
so
hard
that applies
could it
to
be?
like so that applies to like encountering them too. Like if you do the right thing, when encountering physically the dead, you are safe.
Yeah, I feel like in our collective history around like interacting with the dead, there's an overlap between like the stories that are designed to teach you how to have good table manners and the stories that are designed to teach you how to bury your granddad. It's like the same story. It's about like you sitting down to dinner with your dead granddad and you need to like observe these rituals correctly. And it's, you know, it's that whole thing of like, you better use the right spoon, use a salad fork, or your dead granddad's going to come in here and eat your brains. Like there's like this weird overlap of like
somebody tweet that
propriety and etiquette. And also like that it's about showing respect to those who are alive and to those who are dead. We need to use the same skill set.
You are my new favorite person.
So now you obviously need to
so their
show me what you're gonna do
vulnerability
here.
is like the practice that they have. Okay.
Good practice. Good praxis.
Yeah. So okay.
Kind of both their vulnerability and their strength, isn't it? We observe the ritual, they're vulnerable to it. We don't observe the ritual, and they draw strength from it or eat our brains.
Okay. So now do I choose a course of action? Is that the correct process? Okay. Because I think it's really interesting. Because there is kind of two ways to approach this. Like on one hand, am I allowed to think out loud while I do this? I know I can't necessarily like ask everybody else, but I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
I can't talk. I'm the ocean.
Yes, exactly. You're the ocean. Do your dance.
You're doing a wonderful job.
I feel like on one hand, these people are they are very superstitious, but they also like, you know, ruthlessly follow and believe in their processes. And this happening demonstrates a huge fault in that process. Like, you know, if they have this ritual to unmake the dead and they believe they have unmade these people and these people are coming back, then something is very, very deeply wrong with that. So I'm sort of torn between, you know, the idea that they accept that and go, you know, we've really made a mistake here. We've not accounted for something very serious. Or they go the opposite and go, no, our rituals always work. This is obviously a trick. I'm sort of, so what I've got confront it, relying on arcane knowledge to guide your actions to success. Confront it, relying on the strength of the people's ritual to tame or avert it. Confront it, relying on the potency and will of the people's priests or sorcerers. Anticipate it, relying on warnings and omens from their store of knowledge. Anticipate it, relying on divinatory rituals and the visions of priests or shaman. Approach it, relying on their knowledge and rituals to find advantage in danger. Approach it, relying on the power of their priests or sorcerers for safety. I'm really interested, as a side note, I'm interested, Luke, in the anticipate ones. How does that work temporally?
To my mind, that lets you like do the Blades in the Dark thing and recast the encounter and be like, but we anticipated this.
But all the while,
here are the preparations that we made in
Yeah.
advance. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes, we pulled out our special correct table manners shirts and we put them on. And lo, we were safe from the spirits of the dead.
All right. So, should I think? I want to just quickly check. I think I have have one that I think I'm going to go with, but I want to just look at what we know about the people to judge whether I think that that's, a reasonable thing they would do. They must not disobey or give offense to named or known spirits. I mean, these are definitely named or known spirits, so that helps me, because it's like, it might be a trick, but if we assume it's a trick and it isn't, that's basically the worst thing you could possibly do.
Yeah, this is like some Pascal's wager type logic of like,
so
if and then.
So nice. They have curiosity, wonder, fascination with the mysteries of the world, caution, preparedness, planning for danger, a deep respect for the sanctity of life and the weight of its loss. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I think based on all of those, they believe it. They believe what these kelp people tell them. In which case, I don't think they're going to confront, and I don't think they've anticipated it. Yeah, okay. I think I'm going to go with, even though it's a little vague and I'm trying to work out what it specifically looks like, but I think I'm going to go with approach it relying on their knowledge and rituals to find advantage in danger.
Yeah,
the advantage part is the part that's interesting to me. What does it look like? So I think there's something very distinct in the thing about the ancestors. So the descendants of Sewell, the Sparkbringer, have not come back to visit. They kindle the sun at the shrine of sun return. Yeah, and not only are they not the cursed ancestor, but also it's nighttime. So I think yeah, okay. I think the people respond to this with respect and kind of a sense of like wonder and gratitude, despite the fact that, like, the actual appearance of these people is horrifying, even to, like, such a hardened group of murderers. But I think, like, yeah, they see the truth of this, and rather than responding hostilely, because of course you must always treat known spirits with the greatest respect, they invite these kelp, like bird skull ridden creatures onto the flotilla to eat with them, and I think they ask that the ancestors and the dead of Saga would stay with them for the night and see the dawn. And I think that there is a story about how that may kind of like, I think there's a story to do with, like, bringing the two ancestors together in communion. And so they have this idea that if they can keep everyone together until the sun comes up, that maybe that will provide the rest that these people are seeking. Does it work?
That's awesome.
I think it works at a cost.
I'm into it.
Yeah, there are no total victories where the dead is concerned.
Right? Like, how could this ever be clean? It's such a, like, I feel like
intimate,
within the community, it's so polarizing too, because it points to this massive rift that has always existed, right? For as long as the people have been a people in this way, they've been, like, framed in this betrayal thing. So I think we win something, we lose two things.
Yep. Cool.
Cool. So we win one thing, we lose two things. And we've got voices of the people, hands of the people, and Luke, your laws of the people. Okay.
And to provide a little bit of like color of like this working and what this looks like.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, everyone like they all decide kind of collectively to like, oh well, we'll invite them to dinner essentially. And so there's this like very spare and like awkward meal that is taken, you know, at night amidst a storm on the, you know, like they can't like cook anything or whatever, and it's this meager hospitality that they can provide. And the spirits of the dead sit down to eat, and they like weep as they eat, you know, like real food and share in the company of their kin. And they tell stories of being the wind, and how the wind chases the sun but never catches it, and how they have been like cursed to forever follow, never feeling its warmth or like seeing its light. And so, yeah, like amidst this crazy windstorm, they're like lamenting and weeping as they eat this food that's prepared for them.
Okay,
and then the other half of the community who aren't descended from these jerks are just like, what's going on over there? Like, I think that like adds to this tension where they're all like, like watching and like trying to peek in at this like intimate moment, and it creates this sense of like exclusiveness.
I think it's interesting though, because I like the thing about the ancestors of Sewell are proud and kind. So I think that there is like in amongst the ones who are not visited, this kind of like conflicting feelings of like they are glad to see, you know, the other people receiving these visits, but like at the same time they're like, why?
But it stings their pride, right?
Yeah, why is this not like? Why is this different for us?
Yeah.
But also it means we did the ritual right, and
we did the right thing, which means we don't get to have cool dead grandpa dinners.
No,
I mean, look, I'm not saying that I'm going to choose something that pushes into that contradiction if I get to choose something that's lost, but I'm going to try, right? I'm going to try my hardest.
Well, I think I feel like, considering like you specifically mentioned that the dead tell stories, I would like for Derek to choose something that is one.
Yeah, totally. That seems like a really solid choice.
Thank you. All right, so something that is one is a new ritual is created when somebody dies. And what happens is the body lies, instead of the body being wrapped up and disposed of, however the ritual is currently, a new ritual is born where the body now lies in state for a number of days. And anybody who knew the person, anybody who had a personal interaction with them comes and visits the body and talks to the dead person, and good or bad, whether it was things that they loved about them or things that they hated about them. In fact, if they hated things about them, they're more than encouraged to come and say those things, because that's what's brought this upon us. That's one of the things that has brought this upon us.
Yeah, that's
and
cool
so
as hell.
a new ritual about what happens when somebody dies is born.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome. Oh, so
good job at giving an answer that makes sense. I'm proud of you.
Oh shit! Did I? Yeah, I didn't even look at the things.
Yeah, but you,
you don't have to, right?
Yeah, you don't have to. You gave an answer that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
Bing, you did it. Good job.
Fantastic. All right, and then I think it makes sense that we may lose something very practical. And it also makes sense that we lose something from our understanding of the law, perhaps. Luke, do you want to choose something that we've lost, and then Ash?
Oh, I've got a good one. I've got some good possibilities. I might need to think about it just a little longer.
If you're still thinking, Ash, if you have...
Yeah, Ash, if you go. I've got some plotting to do.
An obvious thought?
Oh.
Oh god, they totally eat it too. They
It's
like
the blood forest.
eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just want to like consume this thing of the homeland.
Yeah, and like I think like amongst particularly the children who've been told the story of like dining with your dead grandfather, like they're kind of like amazed and horrified by how literal this story has like become.
Think of it this way. But...
Yeah. Wow, dead granddad really will eat the forks. They weren't kidding.
Yeah, nice.
May I ask a follow-up question about that? Does everyone give up their fancy things? Or do only a certain category of people give up their fancy things? Okay. And so they no longer have access to it, but they still possess it, whereas the other people have already sacrificed it.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Ash, apparently you are a bit echoey, chat is saying. Yep.
Sorry. For chat's sake, that we give up our silverware. We give up the treasures that we carried from the homeland that we can no longer produce.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So, I think there is one of the people in whom the blood of both of the ancestors runs. And that person I think that person is lost.
Yeah.
I think they I think like midway through this like really, really awkward, tense wait until sunrise, I think one person who is like strongly of the line of Sewol, but does have like distantly somewhere like some distant relative of the people of Saga. I think they go over there. I think there were like a couple of ghosts sitting out of the huddle alone waiting for them. And finally their kindness like overcomes their pride and they go over and they sit down with their dead. But I think they feel so ridden with guilt for the fact that they made their dead wait and that they nearly let their pride win, that when the sun rises and the dead kind of like crawl back down into the depths, I think they willingly go with them.
They improperly dispose of their own corpse.
Oh my God.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, well, because I don't think they're thinking about that yet.
Come back! You've got to sit down.
I love that. Yeah, this person just like throws themselves into the sea.
Yeah.
I think, I reckon if I can like have a thought about that, like
Yeah, totally.
I think earlier when I was saying like that the reason that they decide to sit down with them is because of these stories of like the two ancestors like communing together. I think there's like potentially like a tragic end to that story, like it's something that they do before one of them goes to die or something like that. So I think this person is like trying to enact
oh my god I think I've got it. I think like there's, so I think Sewol was first, right? Like, because Sewol was like old when the world was young, because they like kindled the sun in the first place. And I think there's this really tragic story where like after Saga betrays everyone and like the people are like, you know, cast out from this god-smote ruined island that was once there, I think they find Saga out there in the sea, and even though like they should, quote unquote, right, like by some values they should like take vengeance, their kindness like, you know, like is too strong. And so I think the children of Sewol welcome Saga onto the raft, and she like dies of old age like safely together. And I think there's two versions of the story, and in the happy ending one, like her ghost is welcomed into the afterlife by Sewol and is like led into like the light. And I think the sad story isn't like that at all.
And by sad, you mean true.
Story. Yes, yes. You know where I'm going with this.
Like the real Little Mermaid, and then not real.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. I think it sounds like that encounter is done.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I guess I'm satisfied.
All right, so.
I'm next in the order. We took a bit of time with that one. Do we want to take another break, or do we want to just keep moving on?
I mean, we've got a fair few encounters left, so I will just say, like, that was awesome. Like, I would not sacrifice that for a while.
We can run it a bit quicker.
Let's try and be a little more focused, just so that Andrew gets to bed before 4 a.m.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So we can
play
this
for 8 hours and then go to sleep at 8 in the morning.
So we can either have try and have another quick encounter, or we can take an early break and then come back and try and kind of like churn.
Let's take another quick break, just a quick one, and then we'll come back and we'll try and keep it a bit quicker, but also let ourselves indulge if we need to.
Yep. Cool. Cool. All right. So